Edward Laos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the hotel guide publisher, Edward Laos.
Good afternoon, everybody. Edward Laos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Man, I'm really excited about today's guest. We've met a few months ago, had a lot of good discussions, and we're like, man, I have got to get Jessica on my show because what she has is such a unique concept. Jessica, so happy to have you on our Travel Talk podcast. How are you doing?
Thanks, Edward. I so appreciate the opportunity to be here and connect with you and your audience. So thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. It's going to be fun. I think our guests are going to love what you're doing. And I think it's always about awareness. And I think one of the big things when it comes to hospitality and working together is really just that, getting the word out there. How can people align? How can people help and give back? And that really fits into what you're doing. So like I like to do with all of my guests, I think it's important for our listeners to know, well, who are you talking to? So
Sure.
Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you started and maybe how you got to Kind Traveler and where you are now.
Yeah, happy to share. So I started my career as an earth science teacher, and it's there where I really sparked my interest and passion for sustainability. I learned about why the importance of ecosystems and interconnectedness was important. And I did that for a handful of years. I later left and joined a startup, an advertising and media startup. And I kind of worked my way up. I became the associate publisher, but I grew about $20 million in advertising sales in a very short amount of time. And but I was working alongside the founders and learned the sort of the spirit of entrepreneurship at that during that time. I was scaling the startup. And at that time, I was really starting to think about what I was really passionate about in life. And while I love the magazine world and selling advertising, I really wanted to do something that connected me back to my original passion for earth science and sustainability. And I always had loved to travel. So my co-founder and also my partner and we went on a vacation to Belize. And we kind of were there with an open heart and open mind, knowing that we were both ready to find that next sort of thing in life that we wanted to invest and devote our lives to. Because Sean was also, he's an Air Force veteran, also a former entrepreneur. So we came together, went on this vacation, and it's where we went to Belize. We had a beautiful time, but we also saw a lot of poverty, a lot of emaciated animals, and particularly dogs and cats. And we had been animal rescue volunteers in Los Angeles at that time for about a 10-year period. And so when we saw the dogs, we had a hard time turning a blind eye and just sort of ignoring what we saw. So we decided to feed the dogs and unintentionally inspiring other travelers to get involved. Now, that was just a really small, simple act. It didn't necessarily change the world, but we kind of got back on our trip and we just started thinking about this intent that travelers have to want to leave the places that they visit perhaps better or have a sense of contribution or maybe even more purpose or meaningfulness in their vacation. And so that feeling stayed with us a long time. And we came back, we started doing our research. And the most recent research on this particular subject came out in 2024 Booking.com study. And it said that 71% of travelers want to leave the places that they visit better than they found them. And so that really, sparked our curiosity. And we set out to build Kind Traveler, which launched in 2016. And we've been empowering travelers to positively impact the communities that they visit through hotel stays specifically since that point. And so that's kind of how we landed on where we are today from this journey that had many turns over the years.
No, and I think that's one of the big things that got me was leaving the destination better than when it was when you were there. And so people talk about sustainability. People talk about, being conscious of all those of the wellness aspect of things. But I really hadn't heard until we talked a few months ago about leaving a place better than it was for why you got there. And I love that aspect, and the fact that you had the stats from booking.com just makes it even more reasonable on why you decided to do this. So tell me a little bit about some plans or what you have on tap for Kind Traveler, maybe for the rest of the year, or just big ideas of what you have coming up.
Yeah. So in September of 2023, we launched a program called Every Stay Gives Back. And that's really the model that Kind Traveler leads with today. And it's been about 20 months since that launch. And I'm so excited because we've raised $700,000 in donations in 20 months through this new model where every stay gives back, no matter where or how one books. And that's very important because Kind Traveler, when we first started out, the impact would only happen if you booked through Kind Traveler. So rather than competing with rates and GDS connections and all of the great things, we decided, why not simplify this model? And ever since, we've been able to scale. And then alongside of that, we created measurable impact dashboards that are traveler friendly, that every hotel receives, and every traveler, every steward, every stakeholder can see how much has been raised from every single hotel. So the hotel chooses a local charity. It's usually either community or environmental charity. We create a partnership with them, and every dollar is measured. So travelers can create not only a deeper emotional connection and find ways to additionally engage with that charity, but we've also simplified the storytelling for the hotel. So a traveler's going to learn how much was raised, what the impact did specifically, in terms of like how many trees were planted, how many miles of coastline were preserved, how many marine mammals received treatment. Whatever the charity is, there's going to be a different impact metric. And it creates this transparency and accountability and real tangible impact metrics that travelers can feel good about and have this need and this desire left to leave the places that they visit better. And since then, we have also grown that same model into a destination program. We have 13 destination partnerships with like Visit California, Sonoma County Tourism, Visit Greater Palm Springs, just to name a few. We also work with Visit Los Cabos and the Oregon Coast Visitors Association. We recently, just last month, signed Visit Berkeley and Visit Big Bear, and we're working on a wildfire recovery initiative with LA Tourism right now. So it's an excellent destination model that not only makes it possible to scale positive impact and grow environmental and community impact in destinations, but it creates an easy and transparent tool and really a storytelling tool that travelers can connect to and feel more connected to the destination. So that's been a huge focus of our efforts. And, we're just getting back from the eTourism Summit in Las Vegas, where we shared a whole case study on stage with Sonoma County Tourism. And we've had all of our focus on scaling this program that is now in 9 countries. We have 141 hotels, 13 destination partners, and over 52 charities we've supported.
Wow, that's amazing. The growth and just what you're doing, the fingerprint that you're leaving on this world is amazing. Just coming, and it all just came from an idea of you being on a trip. And I think that's what I try to tell people. The power of travel is so transcendent. If you're open to just really experiencing where you are and being there, a lot of people go places and then they come back and they feel like they need another break. But if you're out there and really engaging in, why you're there and being intentional, it just opens up a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, the feeling of purpose and giving back, knowing that your stay is giving back, it's contagious, right? And I think that when people can understand how their trip has a lasting positive impact, there's a feel-good component to that, right? And it kind of takes travel into a new level where it's not just about the experience and taking, photos and having those memories, but also about making a positive contribution, which in fact has a positive psychological
Yep.
response. The science, there's a whole science around giving back that, when you give back in any way, the chemicals in your brain, dopamine is released and you do feel happier, healthier, and more connected. And that's the kind of travel we want to create and fill this gap where, destinations can thrive when tourism is a force for good or for kindness.
Yes. No, definitely. So we talked a little bit about business. Let's talk a little bit about the personal side. I always love to ask my guests these two questions, but what are some of your favorite travel destinations that you've been to? And then any bucket list travel spots that are on your list?
Yeah, I had a chance to go to Costa Rica a few years ago to the town of Las Catalinas. And we have some great partners there. And I was able to really just see sort of the beauty of what a sustainable destination can look like. And that was really empowering for me to see how a country can actually lead with sustainability. Of course, I've been to Belize, and I love Belize because it's Kind Traveler's origin story, right? So I'll always hold a special place for Belize. But I also had the chance during the right after the pandemic to go to Switzerland and Germany, and I just can't wait to go back. I absolutely love Europe, but specifically those two countries that really showed how sustainable tourism can be in action, or can, you get to see really what it looks like from really whole communities and leadership that genuinely care. And I think that's so important to see that in these times we're living in. I also, locally closer to home, I love going up to Sonoma County, wine country. I know I mentioned them, but we have quite a few amazing partners up there. We've been working with them for 4 years. And so for me, the impact that we're creating with, for example, the Russian River Keeper, we've helped clean up over 250,000 pounds of trash out of the Russian River with a group called the Russian River Keeper. And I happen to love kayaking and canoeing down this river. So knowing that the work that we're doing is making this river better and healthier and creating, positive well-being for that community and environment, it fills up my entire heart, really. So I love going up there and just checking in on that impact and those experiences that are actually associated with that impact.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's important. I mean, what you're doing is just, like I said, leaving that fingerprint on the world in a positive way, which is awesome. We got a couple of minutes left. And so obviously, I'm sure a lot of my listeners and readers are wondering, well, how can I get a hold of Jessica? Or how can we find out more about Kind Traveler? What's the best way for them to do that and to connect with you and the brand?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way is, if you go to kindtraveler.com, there's a contact us page. You can just shoot us an email. If you want to just shoot me an email, you can just email me at hello@kindtraveler.com. That's going to be the easiest one. It's going to go right to me. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. We have an excellent newsletter with over 100,000 subscribers. So I encourage you to get on that newsletter, because that's really where we share all the updates about Kind Traveler and all the new studies that we come across, and educational and inspirational content for responsible and sustainable travel.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Well, 15 minutes goes by way too fast. I think it's one of those things where I think you and I could probably talk for hours about travel, sustainability, giving back, making a difference on this world. So I have no doubt that this won't be the last time you're on my podcast. So we'll talk about that later on. But it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today, Jessica.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Edward. It's so nice to talk with you, and I'm so excited to be in touch.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Perfect. Well, to all our listeners, readers out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. Like, subscribe. You got to share this podcast. it's about making a difference in this world, and everybody wants that opportunity to do that. Remember, just like Jessica said, you can never feel bad about helping somebody in this world. And so make sure that we do that. One of our staying points is to travel and make memories. Please continue to do that. Until next time, everybody take care, and we'll talk soon.